Good morning, friends. Welcome to Giving You a Fresh Start. Regina Sanchez here, your spiritual life and health coach, believing in you. Hey, this morning, I just wanted to take a few minutes and sort of just speak from my heart here um, to kind of lay some groundwork and prepare some information for you to all consider as I continue to move forward in building your immune system or supporting and strengthening your immune system. Uh, One of the things I want to just, share with you all is that it is truly the heart of God that we all be healthy, that we live in divine health. And I know it's a controversial issue with so many people because so many Christians have had loved ones who were sick, dying, with terminal illnesses, who prayed diligently and they were not healed. And the point of my video podcast right now is not to really go into that, but to just let you know and lay the groundwork that He does want us well. He does want us healed. Um, but what I want and what I've noticed over the past couple of years, maybe more specifically the past year, is that there is sort of this mentality out there that if you are not a doctor, right, then can you really speak on medical issues or truth? Do you have the wherewithal, the knowledge, and the ability to do that? And I really think we need to change that uh, concept of thinking and really come to understand that we all have the ability to understand anything we really want um, when it comes to our health and wellness, right? And so, as I move forward in trying to teach and expose and help you to understand um, the importance of what you need to possibly do to strengthen your immune system, I am not a doctor. I'm a certified health coach, right? That's what I am. But I have studied nutrition and healthful living and natural living for, do I want to date myself? 40 years. For 40 years. 40 years ago, was I perfect at it? No, I was just learning. Was I perfect at it 10 years ago? No. Am I perfect at it now? No. But I'm constantly learning and constantly researching and constantly trying to understand so that should a health issue come to me, and, full disclosure, I'm 64 years old and I have no health issues. I'm not on medications. Um, I will take a drug if I get a cold sore that I cannot get rid of quickly, naturally. Other than that, when I take the medication for a day and then that's it. But other than that, I'm on no medications. And I'm not saying this in any way to be prideful. I'm saying this to help you to understand that you too can live in this state of health. And I've said, a number of times in other video podcasts that, I was my mom and dad's, medical representative. So I had to navigate a lot of their health issues. And it distressed me. It frustrated me. And there were times that I wish I could bring them into my home and have them live with me so that I could change their diets. I could change, a lot of components of the way they were living to help get them off their cocktails of medications. But I couldn't. It would have, and as my sister would say to me, that ship has sailed. But it still frustrated me, and it was still truly in my heart, to want to do that, to want to see their life be different at their age. They lived I think a very long time. My dad passed away at, I think he was just under 93. My mom almost made 90. So that's a decently long life, but it wasn't healthy. They spent their times, in your later years, as you are, supposed to be enjoying, retirement, going places. They stopped all that because their weeks were full of doctor appointments. And so, my heart always was, I wanted to help them get off the medications. I mean, I don't even know how many there were. There was such a long list that they were on. It was just, and one medication caused this side effect, which caused this side effect, which caused another medication to be added in. And I love the medical people. I loved, when I had to go into the hospital with my parents, when they had ER visits or whatever, I so respect, the nurses and the medical staff and the work they do. It's not a job that I could do. And so I have the utmost respect for these people. But I have to tell you that traditional medicine, in my opinion, needs a lot of work. And I believe it does more harm than good. For me, I think traditional medicine is fantastic if you God forbid, get into an accident and, you have body parts destroyed. Well, man, oh man, the science and the technologies and the things that they can do to recover you are incredible. But if you want to maintain a healthy life and you want to, be as natural in living as you can, a traditional medicine doctor is not the one to go to. Okay? And so the point of my little talk here with you is I want to help you perhaps start thinking and start on your own, doing your own research, right? You're not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. If I had something serious, yes, I would go to a doctor for sure. I'm not saying that I would not. My first line of defense would be probably a functional medicine doctor, or a naturopathic doctor. I know in my area, functional medicine doctors are hard to find. But I would do it. But I would want to go there prepared. Or if not prepared, I'd want to walk out of the office after meeting with the doctor, understanding what they're thinking is wrong with me, and then I want to go research it. And I want to be prepared, and I want to learn more, and I want to understand more. My parents' generation, and I still think to some level, my generation and on down, is we look at these doctors as gods. We have made medicine a god. Right? We truly have. And if you don't think we have, take a few minutes and sit back and think about it, because we have. Because the minute, this whole virus came out, and then the whole injection came out, everybody ran to it. And everybody was cheering. You'd walk into the stores and they'd be like, I got my vaccination. Well, friends, it's not a vaccination. It's a gene therapy. And so everybody just ran to it without even possibly doing any research to understand what it was about. And so the goal of my message to you this morning is that begin doing research on health issues. Begin understanding health issues. Begin to understand what's happening right now in our nation, actually the world. Educate yourself so that you're not blindsided by things, by propaganda, by, you know, lies that we could be fed. Because unfortunately, the medical industry has become a profitable industry. I mean, think about, I mean, okay, so I full disclosure that I'm 64 years old. So when I was a kid, right, you went to this doctor, one doctor. When I was little, it was just one family doctor who took care of everything. Was that the best? Maybe not. I mean, I think specialists are okay. I think it's good, you know. Um, I think it's fabulous that you have an orthopedic specialist. You know, you break your leg, yeah, let's get an orthopedic to mend it, right? So those are all good things. But years ago, when I was in the medical field in sales, I used to work for two medical companies, Hoffman LaRoche and SmithKline Beecham, in their clinical laboratory division. And I sold laboratory services, you know, your blood work and diagnostic services to physicians and hospitals in both in Miami and here in Connecticut. And the interesting thing was, you know, as time went on, um, you had bigger practices. You know, more doctors joined practices, and but you know, the employee, an interesting employee that I found that they had in the practice was a business manager, right? They would hire someone to manage the business. So is that a bad thing? Not necessarily, but it just shows that the trend of the physician market, the doctors, you know, doctor offices and so forth, doctor practices, on some level have to be profitable. You know, it's not like that family doctor that would go to from home to home visiting and making house calls or whatever, understood the dynamic of the family and the illnesses or the diseases or the things that happened within the family because he treated the family. You don't have that anymore. Um, so, you know, it on some level, the medical industry is for profit. The pharmaceutical industry is for profit. And so we need to be careful. We need to um, really understand and research what our medical issues are, at least. Not, I'm not saying, you know, study medicine as a whole, but at least, you know, if you have a specific medical issue that you're dealing with, being treated for, research it and make sure that you're on the right path, you know? And are you on a path for recovery or are you on a path of maintenance? Because, you know, understand, you know, so those companies that I worked for were actually pharmaceutical companies also. But I was in the clinical laboratory division. But the pharmaceutical side, you know, those representatives would go to the doctors to sell their drugs. That was their job. You know, they were there to educate the doctor on the drug. And doctors are so busy. I think a majority of them, I think, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm sure the doctors are relying on the pharmaceutical rep to be educated on that drug that they're administering to their patients, to get the information, to get the studies, to understand the studies. Are they taking the studies and reading them themselves to draw their own conclusions? Maybe, hopefully, but there's a lot to read and understand. You know, years ago when I was homeschooling, years ago, this was back in the early 2000s, I would go to Florida. They had a massive homeschool convention every year. It was fabulous. Um, I don't know. It probably was one of the best in the nation. And, you know, there was like 10,000 people there. There was like over 200 workshops, vendors galore, you know, that I buy my curriculum from for my kids every year there. And so there was one particular workshop that I attended. It was called Information Please. and it was taught by the woman that wrote the curriculum. And it was a fabulous curriculum. I thought it was interesting. She took every modality of a research tool and had the curriculum written to teach your child how to use it effectively. From atlases, which we don't use atlases anymore because we have you know GPS and so forth, but or we have Google Maps and all that. But years ago, in the early 2000s, I did use a map, and so but it taught them all tools, how to use a dictionary, how to use um, an encyclopedia. I mean, you name it, every type of research tool she taught the child how to use, which was fabulous. But one of the things she taught, which I thought was really interesting, she said that doctors at this time, which was like 2000, I want to say it was around 2002, at that time, in order for a physician to be current on medical research, pharmaceutical drugs, new therapies, and things of that nature, they needed to read about 250 periodicals a day. Right? Who can do that? What doctor with their schedules could possibly read 250 periodicals a day to be current on what's happening in their specific industry? It's impossible. So her point of the curriculum was to teach your child how to research, because your child is not going to graduate high school knowing everything they need to know. But if they know how to research, then they'll be able to get the answer to any issue they may have. It was a great concept. It was a great curriculum, and my kids went through it. So my point is that your doctor, is he doing the extent of research that he can do to help treat you, whatever medical illness you have? I doubt it. It just would be a very difficult an impossibility for him. So that's why we need to take the bull by the horn, and whatever medical issue we're dealing with in our life, to do the research to make sure that you are heading towards healing and not maintenance. And I think that's a big key that we have to be careful of. So many diseases can be reversed. Now, heart disease. They say you have a heart attack, you've damaged a part of your heart, it's not repairable. I don't know if that's true. That's what I've understood. So let's say that's true, that you've had a heart attack and part of your heart is damaged. Well, how about doing some research on how you can maintain the rest of your heart so that you don't have another heart attack? And what can you do? What lifestyle changes can you make? What natural way of living can you implement into your life to then prevent another heart attack from happening? And not just relying on the drug. Because the drug that you're possibly taking, I'm sure, has a list of side effects that can cause something else. Or if you're suffering from an autoimmune disease, friends, autoimmune diseases are reversible. You don't need to live with fibromyalgia or Hashimoto's or things of that nature. You can reverse it. Is it hard? It could be. I mean, it's a simple process. The steps are simple. The process, is hard because it requires you to make changes. And are you willing to make those changes? Or would you rather just deal with the drug? And many people choose that. Many people choose to deal with the drug, take the drug. I don't tell me what I can't eat anymore. Don't tell me what I have to, stop using for my body. Just give me the drug and I'll be fine. And there are people that think that way. So that's someone I can't help. But know that there are that autoimmune disease is reversible. Type 1 diabetes, no. But type 2 diabetes, you don't need to live with. So if you're dealing with whatever medical issue, my heart in this little talk here is to encourage you to do some research to help you understand what you're dealing with and what possibly you can do to make different changes in your life to perhaps bring you to that level of health. So I'm going to below put a link to a PDF of some of the books that I've researched and that I've read, and some of the doctors that I follow to to understand, you know, issues. I don't have health issues, but I do care about watching people suffer. It really it breaks my heart. I just wish everybody could be healed and make those lifestyle changes. That's my heart, is to not see people suffering with health issues. But it's, you know, it's each and everyone's choice. So thanks so much for taking time to listen to my talk, to listen to what I have to say. And in summary, you know, the point of this message is to just help encourage you to start researching. Don't believe what I'm telling you. It's okay. I don't question what I'm telling you, and go look and see if there's any truth to it, or if you find something different, just to bring you to that level of health and wellness. I'm here for you. Um, you know, I'm here to coach you if there's lifestyle changes or dietary changes or food changes you want to make. I would love to coach you through it and bring you to that healthful living state. So thank you so much